RWBY Chibi episode 18. Really enjoyed this episode, of course. I was really happy to see that we did officially get the villains in this episode, which I figured we were. I mentioned in my last review, whenever they do like a hint of, something new, like when they hint at another team coming into play, we get the whole team, which so far has only been with Team Juniper. And I'm not surprised they didn't do that with Sun's team because we don't really know their characters too well. But as far as characters we know, it's like whenever we get a hint of that person being in one episode, we actually get to see them in the next. The only one where that hasn't happened, I'd say, is probably Ozpin, and he was just doing like the narration and stuff for the when they did like the Little Red Riding Hood thing. But I was really happy we got to see Mercury, Emerald, and Cinder in this episode, which was really cool. I think I enjoyed that one the most. Honestly, I thought it was the funniest one in general, but my favorite line was in that skit because they're going through and we have Nora and Ruby like, oh, you guys are so nice, and they're talking about like the cat charity and stuff. And then here comes Mercury like, hey, what's up, evil dudes? I got the Cat Killer 9000, which I thought was just the silliest, most random thing they could have done, and it was really, really funny. But I love that. That was my favorite line. And then he sees it, he's just like, okay, and he just backs on out. And that was just a really funny skit. That was my favorite one for sure. But I really did like the other two as well. The first one was really silly. I like that with the pickles, and we get Ruby, and we even get to see Zwei in this. The random explosion wherever he was, he just got hit by an explosion and flew into Sun. But it was really funny. Like I enjoyed that one as well, and Yang like just losing her mind as if the pickles like dishonored Ruby or something like that, and it was funny for all the stuff they did. I thought it was gonna be like, and I guess that was kind of the silly point to it. But it's like all these explosions going off, and then she's like, here you go. And she actually handed her the whole jar. I thought it was going to be a bunch of pickles on the ground, and it's like, here you go. I opened it. And I'm like, what were all those crazy explosions? Like, stuff's flying all over the room. Zwei gets, like, flipped into Sun's face, like, all this crazy stuff. And then it's just like, here you go. I opened it. And, of course, she ends up getting her hand stuck in there. But I really like that. I thought that one was funny as well. And then we get a bit of Ruby and Weiss at the end of this episode with sort of the prissy side of Weiss, where she's like, oh, get the cake person and do this and do that. And it was really good. I enjoyed that as well. And then they do like the 5 minutes later thing, and it's just chaos. Like, I don't even understand how a fire could get from where the oven was to where those curtains even were. So that made it even funnier to me. And the cake didn't actually seem like it was on fire. It was burnt, but it wasn't actually on fire, and it just traveled from oven to curtains. And and that was another thing, like there's always like one little thing in each of these skits that really made me laugh. And my favorite part for the ending is when Ruby comes back and Weiss is freaking out, and she says, run away, and they make her run in circles. I just thought that looked so funny to me, especially the way she was running. I was like, this is the funniest part of the whole skit, because she's like, run away, and she just runs in, like, I think she ran in a circle two whole times. She just ran in a circle. So it really made me love the skit even more. So I really loved this episode. I think it had 3 really good skits. Really enjoyed the middle one, like I said. Getting to see this different side of Cinder is also kind of awesome, because I mentioned we get Sun and Neptune, and they play a lot up on the fact that Neptune's like the cool character, but they make him like the really nerdy character in this, or like the one who isn't nearly as cool. Like Sun's 100% cool in this, but Neptune, they're playing up his less cool sides for the Chibi version. And maybe this will change, but at least for this episode, Cinder was like 100% silly, and it's just like, like when Ruby and Nora burst in, she's just like not evil, and she's like jumping around and stuff and making these crazy faces. And like when Mercury comes in, Emerald like freaks out, and Cinder flat out runs behind the board to hide. Like, oh crap, we're busted. I'm just somehow gonna escape by running behind this board. So it was a funnier side of her character where she's not. It was almost like the opposite of her, and I feel like with Neptune it's more realistic because he actually is scared of water and stuff like that. But with her, it seems like they kind of just decided to do an actual opposite version of her character, where she's not super calm and collected, and she's like super over the top with like the evil stuff when they're first talking and everything. But then they're like kind of busted, and she's like freaking out and stuff. So I like getting to see that version of her character, and hopefully we will get to see the rest of the adults come in and who knows, how all this stuff is going to play out. But I really love this episode. This might actually be my favorite one because I think like each one just had a really funny moment to me. And once again, we finally got to see the villains come into play, or at least talk and stuff, since we got to kind of see them, or at least Mercury and Emerald, for the first time last week. But it was really cool. We got to hear them, talk about the evil plans and everything, and just be silly and funny. So that was definitely really cool. Certainly enjoyed this one. Of course, definitely want to know if you guys like this episode. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts, favorite skits, or least favorite skits. And I feel like I bring this up every once in a while because we keep getting more and more characters. But now that we finally gotten the villains, I have to ask, who's next? Like, who do you guys want to see? Because I thought for sure that we'd get the adults, like the good, the hero adults, the teachers and stuff, way before we'd actually get the villains. So I'm honestly a bit surprised. I really thought for sure that they could at least get one. I thought for sure Oobleck would have been the perfect character to just throw into the Chibi version of the series, and I would have thought he would have been in it, weeks ago. I thought he would have shown up way before the villains were even considered, to be totally honest. So I'm very surprised that we haven't, seen any of the adults, or good adults, outside of the shopkeeper guy and possibly his many siblings. So it's still surprising that they're holding off on the adult heroes. We, of course, still have a million other teams that we can show off. We still haven't seen or even heard from anyone from Team Coffee yet. And, of course, a lot of people want Coco and Velvet. I personally want Coco if I had to choose, one character out of their team. But I would love to know what characters you guys would like to see, come up next, or what group of characters, because we still have, like I said, tons of different teams. And then we have, of course, the adults. We still have a couple of villains. It's kind of surprising. You think if anyone was going to be the first villain to show up in the Chibi version, it would be the first villain. And we haven't seen Roman or heard from Roman. Who knows what's going to happen with Neo, how they're going to do her character or anything like that. But I'm curious to see. I think they could actually do something pretty funny with Neo, considering she doesn't speak. So I think that could go somewhere pretty interesting and have, I don't know, Neo and Nora, I think, would somehow make a good combination, because Nora's the one who talks and Neo hasn't said a single word. She can probably speak, but maybe she just doesn't want to talk to anybody. Who knows? Maybe that could be the joke, and they just have like a dude play the character's voice for like a split second, like, I just don't like talking, and it's just a guy's voice. That would make me laugh really hard. But I don't. We got so many characters. It's really hard to choose. But if I had to pick one, I'd just love to see what they would do with Coco. Out of all the characters, I'd kind of like to see Coco or Oobleck. I think he'd be my number two, just because even in the actual version, he's about as silly as the characters in the Chibi version. So that's my choice. But once again, I want to put out to you guys which characters you guys would like to see. Like, if you had to pick one character to finally come into the Chibi version of the series, who would it be? It doesn't have to be someone we know about. It could still be, Saturn, and I can never remember the other person's name from Sun's team. But it could be the two of them. It could be anyone from Team Indigo, or any character you guys want to see. I would love to know. And like I said, we'd like to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know. And of course, thanks for watching.